up this morning. I am a bit out of sorts, people. Do you hear that, cat? Lunatic. I woke up about 15 minutes late. Somehow, my alarm went off, and oh, you don't do that. Ah, there we go. Get rid of the haze. So, my alarm went off, and I hit the snooze. I don't ever hit the snooze. It's not something I do. Uh, it was never a thing for about 8 years of my life. There is there's no snooze buttons on the other side of the wall. If you have set an alarm, it's because you absolutely have to be awake. So I didn't really get around to that. Let's see who we got. We've got Charlie Murphy, aka Heather Joy, Schrodinger's squirrel. I will always abbreviate you to SQ. Again, after being on the other side of the wall, I'm not typing SS out ever. Those guys tattoo that on things and spray paint it and everything they could do. Diary of a Madman. Good to see you. Glad you're up. Spikes Calhoun, set an alarm. Dennis M. Hunt. Mr. Wolf. SQ. I miss anybody? Monk. CK. I think that's pretty much it. If I missed you, it's because I don't like you. No, I'm kidding. If I missed you, it's because I didn't see you. Coburn, good to see you. So, here's how we go. I have said recently, and I'm actually sticking with this, that a lot of times I got to get back to basics. You know, the more high-tech the camera, the more the thing screws up. I really miss my old camera. So I'm getting back to basics. And for me, that means going back and looking through really old journals, now that are closing in rapidly on 8 years old, and reading the things that I was writing in that journal 8 years ago. The vast majority of things I wrote in the journal over about probably a 12-month period of time. Almost everything is like the wisdom of my sponsor, because this was a cat that spent a lot of time sort of drilling things into my head. And it got me thinking about the lifeboat and life in general. You know what a movie trailer is, right? A movie trailer is when they come up with some kind of, morning, Smitty. They come up with some kind of 2-minute, 45 seconds, whatever length the trailer is supposed to be. And they take a 2.5-hour movie or an hour and 45-minute movie, whatever the case may be, and they condense it down into a little snippet so that you can see that on TV, or when they used to have TV. You could see the trailer for the film, and you would make a decision on whether or not you want to actually see that film based on the trailer. The crazy thing is, those trailers are made by a company other than the people that made the movie. Right? So the guy that wrote the screenplay, the director, everybody that was involved in the film, more often than not, they just hire a company that just does trailers. And then they come in and edit the film down. And I mean, you can take a snapshot of a film, and if you show different parts of it, picture the movie Titanic. If you did a trailer, that's a really long movie, by the way. If you did a trailer the way that, let's say you didn't want anyone to even know that love story took place on a boat. Wouldn't be hard to do, would it? There's all kinds of romance of those two, like Romeo and Juliet, right, on a boat. But you could really, pare that down to a 2-minute clip that doesn't even show a boat. Or you could go the other route and never ever let anybody know that there was a love story involved in that thing at all. And you could just do a trailer of the boat sinking. Now, why am I saying this? Because all the time, I'm asked to condense the tenets, so to speak, of the lifeboat, right? Everybody likes 12-step programs because there's 12 steps. They're really easy to look at. They're really easy to read. Now, they may take your entire life to master, but, it's cut and dry. Not a whole lot of gray area. And, the boat is really like the wisdom of one cat being told by a different cat, and there's a little danger of getting lost in translation. So I was going back through and reading all of the stuff that the man said, and at the time I wasn't a big fan of this, by the way, but he would say constantly, "How's that working out for you?" And every time he said it, it was the dig of, "Look where you got yourself, dude. Like all your best laid plans landed you in federal prison, right? Getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning to go make the uniforms for people who were, being heroic. Instead, we were in there just, we were in there sort of slaving away for 15 cents an hour to make uniforms for heroes, which was, so how's that working out for you?" And he just said it over and over again until I kind of wanted to put my thumbs on that little area right here and just, hold his head underwater or something. But looking back now, through the lens of time, I find myself saying it to people a lot. "Oh, well, I tried this, this, and this. Yeah, how's that working out?" Right? You're on the deck of the lifeboat, and you're probably not here because I have a great singing voice, right? Or I make you laugh. I'm here talking to you because your best laid plans have put you in a pretty bad spot. Hey, cat. And that's really kind of how it goes. Well, that was kind of an odd way to get in the basket. Get up there. So so that got me thinking about Q a lot. And the quote that you saw from Albert Einstein, if more people in the world were aware of that quote, right? Politics would be a completely different game, wouldn't it? You're not going to get out of the trouble that you're in using the exact same kind of thinking that got you into that trouble in the first place. So this really should be the basic tenet of the lifeboat right there. Okay? All of your actions, all of your thoughts, all of your best laid plans have landed you listening to a convicted bank robber talk to you about trying to get sober, right? So it's probably not working out for you very well. If it was, you'd be doing something else at 5 o'clock in the morning other than listening to me. So you got to change the thinking that got you into the position that you're in right now, right here. So that's the biggest of the issues, is that our thinking isn't working very well, right? I think everybody can agree that when you're in the life, your brain's not doing too good. And sadly, when you're in relapse, your brain's working the same way it did when you were on drugs. You haven't gotten back to the drugs yet, but you're doing the exact same kind of stuff. And the ability to see that coming and the ability to do something about it, as in jamming on the brakes, is what makes the difference between people who remain sober and people who don't. And it's also the difference between people who are able to apply the same theories that they used in order to get sober to every other aspect of their life, right? When things aren't going well in your life, it's because you have a problem. Make sense? Okay. You can take all of the things that we talk about and apply them to whatever the problem is. It doesn't have to just be drugs, right? You need to acknowledge that there's a problem. It's kind of huge, right? Why is it important that this problem gets solved? Is it important that this problem gets solved? Because a lot of times people create problems in their heads that really aren't that big a deal, right? But it doesn't matter what comes down the pike. You should be able to apply all of the same tenacity and all of the same everything. I'm trying to keep this cat from jumping on top of this huge roll top desk and knocking everything down, because she likes to do that. It's like her favorite thing to do in the morning. So it becomes a question of what's going to be your new plan. And that's another thing that my mentor said constantly, even when things were really, really bad. I was working in Unicor, and they have the material comes in for the uniforms, and it's enough material to cover 20 or 30 football fields, right? I mean, it takes 18 wheelers, 5-6 of them, to deliver all of this fabric on these huge rolls, and then you got to put them on machines and you roll them out, and they cut them to size, and then we make them into uniforms. After a 6-month run, that'd be a half a year, right? A 6-month run of somewhere in the ballpark of 160 guys working 8 to 12-hour days making uniforms. After 6 months of that, we come to realize that they delivered two different colors of fabric. Now, obviously, it wasn't that one fabric was blue. All right, the fabric was khaki colored, but there was two very distinct different colors. And the only way you could notice it is if you laid them side by side in the right light. Then it became really obvious that, holy hell, there are two different kinds of fabric. So we went into this like detective mode where you had to go back and look through every single thing that had been made in the last 6 months in hopes that this panel and this panel were the same, fabric. And then by the time we had it all figured out, it worked out basically to about 60,000 shirts that were no good. And you can get really mad at the people that dye the fabric and send it to you. You can get pissed off, but that doesn't really, fix the problem. And I remember standing around because I was QA, I was quality control. Should have been me that found this, by the way. But the guy that handled all the fabric for the entire place was Q. So I'm there, and they're not very happy with me. And Q's there, and they're really not happy with him. And everyone's kind of losing their mind. And Q was like, we need a new plan, right? Because this sucks. They wanted to throw out all of the shirts. Literally, they wanted to just trash all of the shirts. And a couple of convicts came up with the plan. These are people who work in the real world, who come in to get cheap labor, slave labor. And what we ended up doing was hiring an entire group of people who did nothing except take those shirts apart. And then they put them back together like a puzzle, and they sent them back down the line. And was it a pain in the keister? It really was. But the people who walked in and started doing this didn't know any better. They hadn't been working there for a year doing something that they had learned to like, and then say, all right, you got to stop doing that, and here's what you're going to do. The people through the door didn't know any better. The idea being this, people. If you don't apply a new plan to what you're doing, then you're going to be throwing out a whole chunk of your life. For real. You need to evolve, and you need to do it quickly. I get emails from people every single day who, a lot of them, by the way, that really dig the column A and column B thing. I like what you guys are doing. I really do. It's a family. I can tell that. It's really a family. You guys love each other. I like the fact that it's, twice a day and you can get there. Here's the things I don't like, right? I'm not going to journal. I just don't do that. And the making the bed thing, I'm not doing that either. And they go down the list of all of the things that they're not going to do. And, you send back an email and you try to be really kind and you say, well, we just put together things that have worked for lots of people in the past. And, you play the odds. If this worked for a great number of people, then there's a good chance it'll work for you. No, I don't do that anymore. For real. Now I write, well, it was your plan that got you here. How's that working out? You need a new plan. And we laid one out. So after you do it your way and you skip journaling and you skip getting up in the morning and having some kind of a routine, you're not going to program. What they really want to do is they want to live the exact same life. They want to take the thinking that got them into the trouble they're in and then apply that exact same principle to sobriety. And you'll see this, especially people who, there's really two camps of addiction, right? You got addiction that's like booze, heroin, right? All of the stuff that's sort of depressants. And then you've got the stimulants, and there's a whole pile of those too, right? You could be doing amphetamines, you could be doing methamphetamines, you could be doing blow. The speed comes in a lot of different flavors. You could be getting pharmaceutical, whatever the case may be. Those people, right, who were really into stimulants, so often when they get on the boat or they start working with me one-on-one and they're emailing me, these people don't want to go to sleep. Like, I'm not even being funny. They want to put their sobriety into a faster gear. It's like they want to get to 6 months of sobriety, but they want to get there in 2 days. And they bring in the exact same mindset that they took when, I'm going to use the term tweaking, and if it bums people out, then that's just the way it is. But the same kind of things that they were tweaking on, right? I'm just going to get hyper focused on this. I'm going to read every single thing I can read, and everything in life kind of falls off to the side because they're going to dedicate every single waking second to being sober. And I think in everything, you kind of need a harmony. The reason that I've been able to stay sober after 30 years of trying everything else, the reason that I'm able to stay sober is this was the first plan that I had ever come across, that I was not allowed to drag any of the stupidity from my previous life into this one. That the easiest rule of thumb, right? Just right across the board. The easiest rule of thumb is this. Were you doing it when you were getting high? Okay, then stop. Were you not doing it when you were getting high? Okay, start doing that. Sounds really basic as hell. But if you apply those two questions to every single thing that you do, it's going to be amazing just how fast you realize where you're screwing up and just how fast you realize where you're making massive, massive strides. But if you decide that, you're gonna pick and choose, and don't get me wrong, you could take 7 different types of sobriety plans and take the best of each of them. And providing you are structuring your life so that you have a program that you do day in, day out, right? The programming is absolutely essential. The not spending time with the people you used to get high with, not frequenting the places that you used to do drugs at, right? And that obviously applies to drinking. Do you know, I swear to you people, if I made a list of all of the people that have been on the boat since we started it, who would say to me, I still go to the bar, I just don't drink. You know what I mean? Like, you do what? You go and hang out at the same place that you've been for the last 4 years, and the only thing you were doing there for 4 years was pounding down bourbon, and that's where you're going to go hang out, and you think you're going to stay sober. They get offended when you say that because they're the first person that just has this licked. No, it's not a thing at all. I just like hanging out, and seeing these people drunk actually makes me not want to use. It doesn't work. I've never seen it work. I'm sure there's someone out there that will pull it off. And then when that happens, I'll get emails that say, I did that. If 1 out of 100 people do something, don't emulate it. Right? Don't emulate it. The people, every time, and it's funny, I'm not pissed about it. I'm really not. I think it's kind of funny. But it doesn't matter what I bring up. If I say the opposite of addiction is connection, you're not going to be successful trying to get sober and doing it alone. I'll get an email within 30 minutes. I got sober alone. So to save everybody this kind of time in the future, if you got sober alone but you're miserable, okay, that's really not helping. You're chemical free. There's a difference between being sober and being chemical free. And the thumbnail today is really what that's about. If you're chemical free, more often than not, you're living the exact same lifestyle that you were when you were strung out. You haven't changed a lick other than removing the drugs. So if you walk into your house and it's just a stone cold mess, it looks like it was hit by a hurricane. And you walk into the kitchen and there are dishes piled up 2.5 feet in the sink. Is it a big deal? I guess you got to answer that. But I'll tell you this. You've been staring at it for how long? You've been staring at it while being miserable for how long? This is like neuro-linguistic behavioral training, right? You're looking at something that has said to you for 4 months, you're a loser. For real. You walk in and you see the mess and you see the dishes and you're just like, I'm not going to do those. Man, I'm a loser. I mean, look at my kitchen. Whether you realize it or not, the automatic negative thoughts that you have, a lot of them will go away if you clean up your life in every aspect of it. If you get into your car and there's 4 empty bags of McDonald's trash on the in the footwell on the passenger side, if you can't see the back seat because you got so much stuff stuffed in it, That's probably not healthy. What you're doing is you're taking every single part of your last life and saying, I'm going to hold on to that. I'm going to hold on to all the stupid things I've been doing. I'm just not going to get high anymore. I've never seen that produce a sober person. You know, I've never seen that produce a sober person. Can you remain chemical free? Sure. Sure. I have worked with a guy on and off since the boat started. And this individual has been sober for about 16 years, which is impressive as hell, is it not? 16 years is really a long time. He hates the world. And I'm not picking on him because he'd be the first to tell you this. He hates every aspect of it. He stops by here. He doesn't do a whole lot of interacting because he doesn't like people either. What this person is the textbook definition of a dry drunk. I can't get into mad details, but let's just use this as an example because it's not it. But somebody has a really bad car wreck and injures a crap load of people, and they were really drunk when it happened. And they never really get over the guilt of that. Or even worse, God forbid, somebody passes away in that accident, but they never really get over what they did. So for the rest of their life, they're not going to do any drinking. And they're going to stick to that, but they are miserable. They're miserable. They didn't learn a new way of life. Not by a long shot. They just learned to put chemicals away. People, if you were doing it when you were getting high or getting loaded or getting drunk or whatever, stop doing it. Right? It's pretty simple stuff. And if by some chance, you never did this once while getting loaded, start doing it. You know what? When I was learning to stay sober, every single thing I did, I had to apply to that exact litmus test. When he said to me, you got to make your bed. What the hell's wrong with you? Look at your room. It's disgusting. And I lived in a room, right? It was considerably smaller than this office. And he's like, it's disgusting. Every time you walk in here, it screams you're a loser. You got to make your bed. And you got to make your bed before you go to breakfast. It was like 4:30 a.m. I get up and make the bed. And I remember making the bed and thinking to myself, man, I hate this dude. But I never did that sober. When I was loaded. I never once did that when I was loaded. Never once. Like, I did not make a bed. You know what? Maybe one or two times there might have been a woman coming over or something, and I wanted to look like I wasn't a complete degenerate. And that's really, how I started to view virtually every single thing. And you know what, M. Hunt? No one on this boat is a loser no matter what. There's a lot of truth to that. I don't believe anyone is a loser, but you sure as shit can live as one. You know what I mean? Like your DNA thumbprint. No one's born imprinted with you're going to be a loser. I don't believe that for a second. But you can choose to be one. You really can. And I've watched that show so many times. And sadly, the longer you're in the life, if, trying to help somebody that's 50 years, a heroin addict, and I've tried this, right? I had a very close friend that was a Vietnam vet, and he came back from Vietnam with a habit. And when I got clean, not now, one of my previous incarnations, I actually made it 2 years, and I did everything I could do. I said to him, man, I'll drive you down to the methadone clinic. I'll pay for it. I'll get you some clothes and we'll do this and we'll do that. He programmed for 50 years. There was literally, and he was a really nice guy, but he said to me, he broke it down. He said, I appreciate so much what you're trying to do for me. But I don't think I'm going to be comfortable in any way trying to change who I am in my mid 60s. When that window opens, and you really truthfully desire change. Don't just get rid of the chemicals, right? Make a serious effort to change. And if you're listening to my voice and you're one of the pick and choose people, I'm not mad at you. I'm just saying that I haven't seen it work very well. But if you're going to be one of those people, pick journaling, right? Seriously, pick journaling. If there's one thing that I said don't skip, it would be journaling, because it's going to tell you every other mistake you make. I'm going back, people, and reading stuff from 8 years ago because I feel like in many ways I kind of lost direction, you know, and not. I mean, I'm not in any danger of getting high. I'm just in danger of not being as productive as I was. And not for lack of effort. It's not that I'm not putting in the time. It's that I'm not getting as much done by putting in more time. Right? Now, that's just stupid, right? So how did I do all of the things that I was doing? I mean, I know it probably sounds bizarre because, there's not really a lot you can do in prison. I made a lot. I made sure there was a ton of stuff that I could be doing. I was helping somebody at all times, or I was exercising like a banshee, or, I was studying. And the amount of it I got into an average day, and and I would knock out a book, during that day as well. Because during the down times when they would lock us in the cell, I would just, like, my face would get in a book. I wouldn't talk. I knew exactly what it was. I had structured my life because what I was doing, I had never done before. And now that I'm closing in on 8 years, it's easy to sort of hit complacency, if that makes sense. You get comfortable, and again, I'm not in danger of getting high. I'm just in danger of living very similar or doing similar things while being sober. And I really do not want that to happen. So many things more fun than cleaning. Even if I could not have seen the name on that, I probably would have guessed that's my son. There are many more things that are way more fun than cleaning. No question. But if the place you live is a sty, when you go in, it lowers the baseline of how happy you are. And that baseline is going to make you wonder, the decisions that you make about what kind of fun am I going to go have? What kind of things am I going to go do? If your base level's down here, you're usually not motivated enough to do any of those things that might be fun. Spanx, you know what? The attitude that you've had for the last couple of days, I don't think I would be shocked. I really don't. I'm proud of you. I'm wildly proud of you. And I think that you're attacking this in a, I almost said in a sober way, but in a methodical way. You're really trying to set up a new and better life, and I think that that's absolutely huge. It's absolutely huge. Like moving, I am. Thoughts markedly different than 7 days ago. That's beautiful, Calhoun. It really is. I'll be really honest, crew, because we really haven't had this conversation. But as most of you know, I'm getting ready to move. This move is health related, pretty much across the board. It has to do with the health of a couple of different people, right? Me being one of them. I have talked to you before about my daughter. My daughter is just an amazing person, but she overcame a really tough thing at birth, and she's had, I think, 3 open heart surgeries. They basically built a heart out of a half a heart, right? She was born with hyperplastic left heart syndrome, and they assembled a heart, and it worked beautifully. And she's just, she's a pisser. But if she comes to visit me and I live at, say, 4,000 feet elevation, it's so much different than if she's going to come and visit me and I'm at sea level. That the elevation for her makes a huge difference. It really does. And I can watch it. Like if she comes here and we decide we want to go up to Tahoe, it just zaps the energy out of her. She's not, and you know what? I really, what Spanx just said. Half her heart does the work of all the heart. One side pumps to lungs and body. It's amazing. It really is. It's absolutely amazing. And it's a miracle. And every part of her life was. From the very first day, she's been a miracle. I could tell you the story, but I would just start sobbing. And at some point, I will prepare a day ahead of time, because it's one of those things that I would actually have to rehearse once or twice so that I could get out as many tears as I could. But every single aspect of her birth and everything else is a miracle. Me wanting to live at sea level has a crap load to do with that, It really does. She's now becoming a much larger part of my life. And the other thing is, I'm gonna, I'm not gonna be here forever. And when I pass the home on to two of my kids, I don't want one of them to be miserable there. You know what I mean? Like, or just not have any energy. I would very much like it to be a hookup for both parties. So that's a huge reason for the move. And some of that is me as well. I've got some things going on that health wise that nothing major or anything, but this is going to be a better move for me health wise as well. All right, let's see what we got going on today. Yeah, you know what? I think it's going to be a good move, Monk. I really do. Blue, you will be shocked how fast it goes and how much will get accomplished. Start with a half hour. Let's see what we're doing for half an hour, because that sounds like really good advice. That really does sound like blue advice. And what is it we're trying? You know something? When you set a timer, refuse to do anything else for that time. Warn everybody that is your time. You know what? If you're talking about meditation, really wild things will happen on very little. Oh, cleaning. Okay. This is Q advice, and this is how he did it with me, because I said to him, every time I've ever cleaned anything in my life, it's because somebody made me do it. And I think that I resent cleaning for that reason. And he said to me, well, here's what you do. When you walk in today, if you see something that is even remotely out of place, pick it up, find a place to put it. So he's like, you don't have to do it all in one day. And the really funny thing is, I don't know if he knew this or what, but I went in and found the first 3 things that were just always wildly out of place and just made what your eye went to as soon as you walked into a cell. And I picked them up and moved them. And when I did, I thought, damn, it really does look better. I'm going to knock out those magazines over there. And in about an hour and 45 minutes, it looked immaculate. And I had to learn to keep it that way. I could really destroy a room that looked good in a matter of minutes, which was odd. But Schrodinger's squirrel is spot on. The more organized you are in life, the better a chance you have of being successful in everything, in absolutely everything. Man, I'm doing this with the dope man living 500 feet away, dude. Well, here's the thing. I did this with the dope man living 6 feet away on one side and 5 feet away on the other. I literally was sandwiched between 2 heroin dealers in a cell, right? So on the left of me was a guy that would give me stuff without money, and on the right of me was a guy that would give me stuff without money, and I just had to pay him somewhere down the line. And that's what got me into trouble the first time, right? I would go into those guys, and I would run up a bill of $7,000 or $8,000, right? With no chance in hell of being able to pay it. And then they would say, here's a list of people that you can get out and go get money out of. And if you collect from these people, then you ain't got to worry about it. You don't have to worry about getting paid or anything else. So I started smacking people around. I became something that I absolutely wasn't. And when I quit, and depending on the time of year, I remember having a conversation one morning with Q, and we were in a unit of 120 guys, and they had just rolled 10 out because there was a bit of a riot. So, we were closer to the 100 than the normal occupancy, so to speak. And about an ounce and a half of tar heroin hit the unit. That's not a huge amount on a street, but in prison, it's all of the drugs in the world because they sell the stuff by a smear on a piece of paper. And I remember sitting with Q and I said, how many people in this block right now do you think aren't on heroin? Right now, as we speak. He said, you and me. He said, honestly, maybe a couple of the old men. We can constantly look for a place to be that is better than the place we are at. Better geographically, safer because I'm not living anywhere near a dope dealer. And there's legitimacy to that. But I remember leaving Texas because I needed a new start. And within 4 weeks of where I was on to getting dope there. And is it wrong that I hope he gets locked up? No. No, it's not. Sorry, it's not. Here's one of the most difficult things in the world, and this is legit. For those of you who, if you pick up your drug of choice at 7-Eleven, you absolutely can get bitter that the entire world views your chemical as a party, as just something to celebrate. And all of the pictures that they show, everybody's happy. They're not showing anybody puking behind the dumpster at 2 o'clock in the morning, right? Or somebody shaking in the morning until they get the first couple of shots into them. And I understand that. But if you got to go get your substance from somebody that you're looking straight in the eyes, and the man is making a living off of your misery, one-on-one. It's not like the nameless, faceless corporations and all the people that touch it on the way down. You can really center your anger on that guy 500 feet away. Hoping that man ends up in prison, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I really don't. If you start taking action to try to put him in prison, I think that might put you down a path you probably don't want to go down. It's one of those things. My dope man is at every gas station, grocery store, etc. My dope man is on TV. My dope man is at every restaurant. My dope man says, I'm the problem. I feel you. And there's really, that's as articulately put as you can for people that, whose substance of choice is alcohol. And I have always, honestly, when people say, well, heroin's a lot harder to quit than alcohol, my response has always been, damn, dude, they sell alcohol everywhere. Like, if I know, I really believe this. If I could buy heroin at 7-Eleven, I don't know that I would have got out and been clean. It was a much easier thing to cut everybody that I knew out of my life, because going away for 8 years, when I came back out, I'm not being dramatic or anything else, but I would say 80% of everyone I knew was dead. The overdose rate among full-time users is so high that almost everybody that I knew was dead. So I didn't really have to go out of my way to avoid people. But if everywhere I went to get gas, or if I went to go to a restaurant, they would be like, do you want any heroin with your chicken? Like, that would be really a difficult thing for me. It really is. And it's one of the reasons that I do a show on alcohol about once every 2 months, where I just talk about it being a poison, because it really is just insidious, and what it does to the body. It's really one of those things that gets overlooked in a very, very big way. Truthfully, it gets overlooked in a very, very big way, because of everything M. Hunt was just saying. The fact that it's in everybody's face, the fact that at one time it was illegal, and then they had to pass a law to make it legal because everyone was doing it anyway, which is really kind of a bizarre, tap out kind of a thing. I don't begrudge people who can do opiates. I know people that get high and don't have an issue. They get high. They might do it, every once in a great while. They don't buy the stuff, but if they're somewhere and, someone's like, I just had 4 wisdom teeth removed, I had a very close friend, and anytime somebody said they just had surgery, he'd be like, really? Crack me off 3 or 4 of those pills. Never developed a habit of any kind. I don't understand it. I just don't understand it. My son had a big abscess thing, and he had to go and get the video stopped. I'm sorry, Calhoun. Yeah, so he, and they put him on, I was a walking pickle. Yeesh. They put him on Percocets. And I said to him, how many are you taking? He said, just a half of one. And I cannot tell you, I was like, that's amazing. I'm so damned happy. And the other thing that makes me happy is they don't prescribe the way they used to. No one is handing people 72 pills. You know what I mean? Like, you hurt your shoulder? Well, here's enough painkillers for 4 weeks. Go home and eat them in 10 days, and you'll have a drug habit. Yeah, for those that don't know, Utah, all of the booze that they sell in Utah, all of the beer that they sell in Utah is 3.2%. So it's not the normal beer. It's a little bit weaker. Now, if you want to get normal, beer, then you have to go to a state liquor store in order to get it. And I think they get about $2, maybe a little bit more than that for a bottle of Corona. So it's like going to the bar to buy. You got to go to a bar, and to go to a bar, you have to become a member of that bar. It's a bizarre state. It really is. Yeah. Diary of Madman says, Monk, if heroin was pickling juice, I would have been a walking pickle too. The amount of abuse that the human body can get put through is astounding. It really is. It's astounding. I remember the first time I went to a pain specialist, and it was legit. I had pain, I was pretty badly injured. And when I went in there and talked to the person, and we started going through it, she took all of the x-rays, she did all the tests, and she had it on her desk, and she said to me, so what are you doing? Are you doing heroin? Are you buying pills on the street? And I was like, what? No, I'm not. She said, hey, no, you're using a painkiller. With what you have going on, I don't know that you could have walked in here. And I said, yeah. I said, I buy pills. And at the time, that is what I was doing. I said, I'm buying pills on the street. And I'm buying hydrocodones, the 7.5 ones. And she said, how many are you taking at a time? I said, 14 or 15. And the look on her face, she just said to me, there is no chance whatsoever that your liver is going to be alive in a year if you continue to do this. It's not necessarily the opiate, but it's 500 milligrams of acetaminophen in every single one of those pills. And I know I've done irreparable damage. If I was a friend of mine, I would be taking way better care of myself. That really is funny. If I was a friend of mine, I would be taking way better care of myself. That is really funny. I'm sorry, that really is. I broke my back riding wheelies. I'm allergic to codeine. They put me on pain management. 4 doctors. It turned my wife into a drug addict. Turned me and my wife into a drug addict. Dennis N. There was a period of time when wow, I'm close to 150,000 drinks. I'm not supposed to be anywhere near as healthy as I am. I was actually leading up into that. I know I'm going deaf thanks to my pain pill addiction. I was actually leading up to that, Emma. The body is absolutely amazing in its ability to heal itself, right? It's just astounding to me. What is your thoughts on Suboxone for pain management? It depends on what the pain is. And it depends on how much you've done in your life. They have wild success, and there are double blinds and all kinds of tests to back this up. They have unbelievable success using buprenorphine as a painkiller, providing that individual has never done other painkillers. Because of how it works, if you've used Percocets or you used any like legit hardcore agonist, then you're not going to be very happy trying to control pain with buprenorphine. If you've never touched that mu receptor as a way to deal with pain, then buprenorphine is going to be amazing, and it has a lot, especially for long-term treatment of pain. You got an injury that's going to last the rest of your life. It really is a good painkiller. Oh, you know what, Dennis? I'm really sorry to hear that, and that is tough. Catnip tea is a good painkiller. It's not psychoactive, non-drowsy, and non-addictive. How does catnip tea taste? Because I don't know, it sounds rugged to me. Maybe I'm off base. It's minty. John Doe says, like cat pee. John Doe, that's where my head went. Honestly, I thought that's gotta dry it and use it like tea. Crushed fresh catnip smells slinky and minty to me. Okay. I know Squall's fond of it. Catnip tea is supposed to be great, but my cat won't leave me alone, right? Skunky, there you go. That makes a little bit more sense. I was wondering what Slinky was. Sweetened, it tastes like mint. Gonna look away from chat. All right, so I'm talking to you then, Calhoun. So people, to sum this up, right before we end this thing, the best laid plans that you have had for the duration of your life to this point, and I'm talking about if you're in recovery right now, great, but are you happy in recovery? If you're feeling like you won the lottery and life is just completely different, then chances are you did come up with a completely new plan. You did not apply the same kind of thinking that got you into trouble to your sobriety. But if the only thing you plan on changing about you is the fact that you get high, trust me when I tell you, you're not going to have a very happy life. The unintended consequences of doing drugs can be just as bad as the ones that we know are coming. Procrastination, absolutely a huge problem for anybody that does dope. There are people that believe that procrastination is caused by laziness. It's caused by fear. It really is. I got a deadline coming. I'm freaked out and it's bothering me. So I'm not going to deal with it. I don't want to think about it. I don't want more fear. I'm just going to put it off. And I don't mean fear like the world's going to end. I just mean fear of being uncomfortable, fear. But they say the driving force behind procrastination is fear. And almost every person that I've ever met who got addicted to drugs is a vicious procrastinator. All of these habits that got ingrained in us. Think of it this way. Do you think being a drug addict takes with it a crap load of really good habits? Right? Does being addicted to drugs or alcohol come with a great lifestyle? No, right? It comes with a crap lifestyle. It comes with a really bad lifestyle. It comes with a really unhealthy lifestyle. Blue says, procrastination is my doom. Spank says, I'm a pro-procrastinator. You're a pro-procrastinator because of the people who raised you. That's on me. Seriously, you watched that growing up, you know? Real Hemingway type stuff here. Have you ever been to New Orleans, M. Hunt? If you go into the old Absinthe House in New Orleans, and look, I don't mean go in there while it's, liquor store time or booze, but the old Absinthe House, his name is still carved in the bar. He used to go there on Friday nights, and he'd go, all right, everybody outside. We're gonna go throw. Been down many a rue. Yes, I had a friend that I took there for a Mardi Gras, and he lost his wallet. And I said to him, do you know where you were? Like the street? He goes, I think it was Rue the Day. I said, yeah, it probably was. Procrastination equals analysis paralysis for some. For some, it just means avoidance. I'm also a pro with Legos for the same reason. Right? There's something to be said for a father that is wildly immature, right? Oh, I'm really good with Legos. Jen Kilmery, I don't know that I've ever said hello to you. Please pray for me and my dog. Long story, but we need prayers ASAP. Okay. I don't. I look away for 2 seconds. Squirrel, please do not knock any of that down. People, I'll be right back. All right, come here. Come here, you wildcat. What is wrong with you? This is a cat. That's a basket. That's where you're supposed to stay. Boy, she's hell on wheels in the morning, isn't she? My body is my downfall. If I can ever get up and start, I run out of energy too quick. Working on that blood pressure. Chances are, all of those things are an affectation of your previous lifestyle. My blood pressure was horrific. Horrific. And I didn't take it for a long time. And I started to work on a lot of different things. Mellowing out, trying not to be angry, meditation, yoga, things that just kind of get me back into some kind of a better mindset. And what ended up happening is during my migraine, I went to get my blood pressure taken, and I was at like 118 over 59 or 58. I was like, who the hell's blood pressure is this? So I took it again on the other arm, and no problem there either. And it's been consistent since then. Pink Himalayan salt. Do you know, John Doe, that at one time I worked for a company that was a big thing. Himalayan pink salt was something that we used to sling a lot of. V, I'm glad to see that you're here. And you know what, Miss V? I know that this goes against, like, for, V and I have been kicking it now about a year and a half. And anytime we talk about doing something in the morning or doing a morning thing, she'd be like, no, I'm not getting up for that. And I'm just, I know that you are really putting effort in to be here. And I think that's awesome. I really do. And I appreciate it. Guys, I got to get going. Got to clean up. Also, have to shape my beard up and get myself going for the day. Yeah, trim that stuff up. Redmond, good too. All right, sorry. My brain was somewhere else. I love you all, and I hope you live the best that you can be. Only of you. Only one of you. There you go. Yeah, electrolytes are good. Spanky, I just saw what your... How long has that been your avatar? Wow, I took that picture. Absolutely, Jen. And we're really happy to have you here. Truthfully. And if you just got here at the end, we actually do more than just hang out and talk, but it's usually the first half. Squirrel blessings. You know what? Thank God. Squirrel just left the room, which is really a good thing. I love her, but she's so hard to deal with first thing in the morning. She just destroys stuff. And I kid you not, people, so I don't have doorknobs. I got the little handle things. She can open any door in this house. She can open any door in this house, which is really frustrating as hell because you can't, it's like, I'll just shut her in my room because she follows me everywhere. And if I just want to run downstairs for something, she runs downstairs, gets underfoot. So I'll shut the door and try to just sneak off. And when I get downstairs, she's waiting for me. I'm like, how just that happen? Such an inspiring boat ride this morning. Thank you all. Going to start my room this morning. Oh, before you go, where do I find my 5? Jen, are you, do you mess around with Facebook? And if so, have you been over to the Lifeboat Facebook page? If you have not, that's a really great place to find your 5 because there's not anybody there that is not on the Lifeboat, and you can basically just continue to go there and talk. You just want to see me cry, Spanx? I got a bunch of old photos too that I recently came across. Yeah, Miss Miss V says, yeah, I seen her open. You heard her open the door last night. Yeah, she's absolutely amazing. Hey, full of hope. I'm glad that you can make it. I know that you were on a FaceTime to Taiwan, so it's always impressive to me when you manage to get over here as well. You know what? A lot of people, Facebook is evil, but I can do Facebook. Jen, Facebook is more than evil. You're never going to get an argument out of me. We refer to what we do over there as the safe harbor. And not just because it's, it's a place where we can go and meet, but it is a safe harbor inside a sea of stuff, because Meta, or whatever they're calling it now, is absolutely awful. But I think that when you get over and check out the Facebook group page, it really is different. You're not going to see people posting, pictures of them standing next to their new car that they rented for the day, or here's a picture of me on vacation in the Bahamas, or here's a picture of me. It's just people all trying to help one another. It's all very, very focused on being the best that you can be. It's not really the show off stuff. What's the group name exactly? Do I have anyone with a blue wrench that can put a link up there for me? I woke up this morning to a request from Ivan Moody. Yes, if I could, if somebody could put up a link, that would be fantastic. And if I don't have anyone here to do it, the Dropbox will have a link directly to our Facebook page. So, you know what I mean by that, Jen? You know what the Dropbox is here? There will be a link directly to it. Or if you go to the top of our page, it will say, I'm not really good with any of that stuff, but it will say about. And if you go all the way over and hit about, it's going to have a link over there as well. It's just called The Lifeboat. Should have the exact same name. Yeah, a lot of us are really, really challenged when it comes to computers and such. We were concentrating on other things when that was going on. Let me see if I can cultivate kindness. Do you realize that I would need to ask someone how to do that? People, if you knew the stories that I get every morning, people, I'm not complaining here. I'm not complaining. I want you to do this. But every single person that comes across a story that is just absolutely drug related and absolutely horrific, they send it to me, and I do use them for what I do. It helps a lot with research. It's like you guys are all helping me research things. But man, some of it is just the world we're living in. You know what I mean? Drugs and alcohol are literally disassembling our planet. And then throw in, the new addiction of social media, and it's just really, really awful. Full of hope. 9 months off the cigs. I could have had a baby in that time. I'm proud of you. It's amazing. Southern Grace 8. You should probably check your emails in about 20 minutes. I think I owe you one. Your house smells so much better than your hair does. No question. M. Hunt. We'll see you tonight on the boat. M. Hunt, you're killing it. You really are. And I'm proud of you. I mean that. And I knew that my kid was going to groove with you. I really did. I think I may have even told you that once. John Doe says this channel is addictive. There's something to that. I most assuredly am addicted to it. However, I think it's probably the best addiction I've ever had. Come on, cat. Come on. Don't look at me like that. All right, people. As soon as I don't want her to come up, she'll come up, because that's how cats are. I will be back this evening, 5 o'clock. If you're new here, we're live on the 5s, and that's Pacific time zone. 5 a.m., 5 p.m. 5 a.m., 5 p.m. People, there you go. What did I tell you? There's a really good chance that tonight's show is going to be a little different. Do not miss it. I think we're going to have a guest speaker. So please do be here tonight, 5 o'clock. I'm Captain Tommy Scoville, and that's Cat's Tail. So she's underneath the desk right now in this little place in the back. She's probably going to knock the camera over, so I'm just going to say, make it a great day, all right? Georgiana, I've never said hello to you, I don't think. Hello and welcome to the boat. Thank you. Goodbye, everybody. Hey, Squirrel, get off, mother.